It's about that time again for a little Bedlam Buds, a little CFP College Football Playoff edition of Bedlam Buds. I'm Ryan Boomer Sooner. This is my buddy Jeremy.
Go Pokes.
We will have a number of videos this week, and we will talk about Eric Morris and his arrival in Stillwater. North Texas still has a bowl game to play. They did not make the playoff, but let's start with the playoff. Oklahoma made it in at number 8, sort of like what everybody was thinking. But beyond number 8, it got a little wacky. It got a little wacky because Duke beat Virginia. Virginia had beaten Duke, Jeremy, 34-17 in the regular season, and then the Blue Devils beat Virginia in the ACC title game 27-20. That brought James Madison and his, father of the Constitution Dukes into play. The Dukes will play the Ducks 12-5. 11-6, you got Tulane that beat North Texas. They will play Ole Miss. You know, Tulane and Ole Miss played earlier this year. They played on September 20th. Ole Miss won 45-10. I'm sure this game's going to be entertaining. And then you have 10-7 Miami, who didn't even make the ACC title game, playing Texas A&M in College Station, a tough place to play. And we'll get into that, especially when we talk about Notre Dame. But Miami essentially was the entity that knocked Notre Dame out. You know, Miami beat Notre Dame earlier in the year. And then you had 9-8. 8 was Oklahoma, and 9, Alabama.
Should not have been.
No Notre Dame. It should not have been at all. I completely agree. I think it was Kirk Herbstreit I saw say that Alabama's been leaking oil for quite a while. They didn't look good against Georgia.
Georgia ran them out. Georgia flat out ran them out of the stadium.
It could have been 42-49-7. So you have those 5 through 12, and then you have 1 through 4. Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas Tech. Doesn't matter. I think they're the 4 best teams in the country anyway. What's your overall reaction to what we've seen with the college football playoff pairing?
Well, I think that the top 4, the committee got it right, just like you said. I think that it worked itself out with Indiana beating Ohio State. Everybody already had Indiana written off, that Ohio State was just going to run through them. And so, would Indiana drop out of that top 4 type of question? Well, we don't have to worry about it because Indiana went out and proved it where they needed to, which was on the football field. And, and they took care of Ohio State and got that 1 seed. Texas Tech clearly did what it needed to. Georgia did what it needed to. And Ohio State has been number 1 all year, defending national champs. Again, I think that they got that part right. Now, it's the backside where there's always the controversy. And I don't think Alabama deserved to be there. I don't think Notre Dame deserved to be there either. To me, it was not a question of Alabama or Notre Dame. It was BYU. BYU is the team that got the short stick here. BYU is the team that should be the most angry, not Notre Dame. Notre Dame had too many losses against average opponents, including Miami, who beat them head-to-head, right? BYU had 2 losses. Both of those losses were to Texas Tech, the number 4 team in the nation, and they were their only losses. And they had them, again, just to Texas Tech twice within the same year because of the conference championship. Outside of that, BYU did exactly what they were supposed to. They won every other game out there. And so the committee basically said, we can't punish Alabama for losing that conference championship game, but we're going to punish BYU for losing the conference championship game. And both of them got blown out. Both of them, again, neither one of them, but BYU had the better season. They had the better look, but it's about that logo. It's about, the things on the side of the helmet clearly as much as it is that team. And, personally, I hope that OU just railroads. I hope they run Alabama out of that stadium just to prove that point, just to prove that Alabama should not have been there. But BYU, to me, is the team that got absolutely royally hosed here, not Notre Dame. Alabama, again, jumping up. They should not be there. It really should be BYU. Because of what happened in the other one with Duke, winning their conference championship, throwing the wrench in the works there, which allowed James Madison and Tulane to both slide their way in. Tulane by beating North Texas, and then James Madison because of that other hole there for Group of Five. But I see that Oregon is they're gonna run James Madison out of there. Good for JMU. I hope they make it a game in the first half, but Oregon is just way too talented. Tulane, Ole Miss, it won't be a 5-touchdown game like last time, but Ole Miss is the better team. Now, question is, how do they respond without Lane Kiffin? Do they go out and do they win one for the Gipper? Do they prove the point that we were good even without them, and go out and win that way? And then Miami, Texas A&M. That's going to be a terrific ball game. Texas A&M has kind of dropped off, not played as well the last few weeks. Miami has put it out there where they needed to, doing what they've needed to down the stretch. That's going to be a terrific game. And, of course, the OU Alabama, those are the two blockbuster games these first round. And to kind of skip ahead, to me, OU got the best side of the bracket to be on. OU has an easier route to the final game than the other side, where you got A&M, you got Miami, you got Ohio State, and Georgia, Ole Miss. I mean, come on.
I completely agree. Not only do I agree with you about BYU being hosed, I believe that they were actually the odd man out here and not Notre Dame. But I agree with you about OU having a fortuitous side. I do see a universe, as crazy as it sounds, if OU wreaks havoc and some chaos and plays it ugly, funks it up. I do see a universe where OU's playing in the national title game. I really genuinely do. I don't see them winning a national title game, but I see them. I mean, by the way, if you get to a national title game, who's to say you
Absolutely.
don't? It's one game. But with that said, I just have to think, when you think about the season that Oklahoma has had, and as a Sooner fan, I'm so proud of them for being there. This has been a mental war of attrition for them against the doubters. I've been a doubter. It's not that I've been a doubter. I've been a realist. We're realists. We're just talking about how we see things happening. But they have fought the true mental war of attrition, and they only have to do it 4 more times. With that said, they're playing out of their skins. They're standing on their head, to use a hockey term when you talk about a goalie who's doing great. He's standing on his head. That's what the Sooners are doing. I don't see anybody unbeatable in this batch. I do see some possible upsets. But when I think about Oklahoma, Alabama specifically, I think about where they are mentally. OU is already an underdog. Perfect. Absolutely
How
perfect.
can they be an underdog when they've beaten Alabama twice in a row, including this year on the road? I mean,
I'm so grateful that they are. First off, it's just going to be the wildest, maybe the drunkest crowd that OU has ever had. It's Friday night at 7 in December. You're going to need to get warm. Are you kidding me? It's to bring the LSU energy to Norman, Oklahoma. It's the night before graduation. Come on. It's going to be and I know a lot of people point to the Texas Tech game in 2008. I expect this to be the wildest, rowdiest Sooners crowd in the history of Oklahoma football. And their mentality is hard to kill. It's printed on a shirt. Alabama, on the other hand, there's a lot of people on TikTok I follow who are Roll Tide fans who are basically done with the season after the Georgia loss. They're like, well, don't send us to the playoff. We don't want to be there. And if those fans are saying that, what do the players feel like? Is Kalen DeBoer really the guy to really get those guys galvanized? Did he have their mental energy in a game that they needed to have against Georgia? No. I think that the potential for a blowout is there. OU's offense has to show up. Has to.
I think that OU's offense will show up enough, and I think that Bama's offense is not that good. And I'm sorry, but that quarterback is not, to me, a national championship winning quarterback at Alabama. And I don't know if Mateer is, but Mateer has that little something that he finds a way to win in most situations. Does have a little. Not quite. He's not Baker. He ain't Baker, but
No,
he has a little bit of,
nobody
well,
is.
right. He has a little bit of something. Um, because to me, you just throw the Texas game out. That's just always weird. But
Right.
I,
Agree.
I think that Alabama, OU has the mental advantage for sure. I think Bama's going to come in hoping to win. I think they'll start out strong, but once OU punches them in the mouth and once the Bama offense can't do a lot, I see OU winning by double digits. I really do. Now, I'm not saying, 21, or 35 or a blowout like that, but I see OU winning 15 to 20 points.
410, 27-13, 27-10.
Hey, 1 or 100, that's all that matters, as long as you're on the right
Right.
side.
Totally. Okay, so as you're looking at that whole bracket, if you had to pick a Final Four right now, I mean, who would you pick?
I mean, gosh, I would hate to. I mean, because right now I see, honestly, I see Oregon, I see Georgia, I see Ohio State for sure. Indiana, and maybe, I don't know. I'm struggling with the fact that it's Indiana. Um, and that they win ugly, that they win, they don't mind getting dirty in there. They're not the most glamorous team. They're not the high flying team. And that's why I think OU absolutely could give them fits if OU's defense is on. I see that being a really close ball game, and I could see OU winning that. But gosh, right now, I mean, I have those three, and that fourth one. I mean, if I had to pick, I would say Indiana right now, but I reserve the right to change my mind after OU and Alabama play.
Right, right. So when I look at it, I mean, it would be easy to pick Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas Tech. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Miami beats Texas A&M. I think Miami beats Ohio State. I think Miami. I think they have a mental edge to them also. Yeah. And by the way, Ohio State not that great. They're okay. I mean, they're okay. It's but they're not. This isn't the same Ohio State last year going in. I was like, Ohio State's winning this championship. By the way, they were seeded 7
Well, they lost to Michigan,
last year. Right.
so
But either way, I was like, God, the way they're playing, they're going to win this whole thing. Now, I might have thought that after a game in the playoffs, but with that said, I think Miami is on a good side of things, playing a Texas A&M team that didn't really show up against Texas, and then getting to play Ohio State as opposed to Indiana. Here's the crazy thing: if OU beats Alabama, can OU beat Indiana? Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I absolutely think they can. I am as enamored by the Indiana story as anybody, but I'm like, I still think they're beatable in the moment.
absolutely.
And I see Oklahoma very much like a Butler in the tournament. They're going to ugly it up, and that's what I would say. We're not going to play finesse football. In fact, I want to see a safety scored. I want to see 2 safeties scored. I want to see weirdness happen. And that's the way. And so when I'm looking at the Final Four for me, first off, I think Georgia and Texas Tech are playing for the national title. And don't tell me that Texas Tech can't win it. I am very, very high on Texas Tech. And I think they're very, very good. And that's why, going back to the discussion about BYU, okay, you look at BYU getting blown out twice by Texas Tech, but you're going to see in these playoffs how good Texas Tech is.
Well, against Oklahoma State, Texas Tech scored by accident. I mean, it really was. It was 49-0, and they were trying not to make it that big. They just kept scoring. Unlike Oregon, who ran it up. I don't know. There's something about right now that I don't know. When Oregon is on, they can just literally outscore anybody. And Texas Tech is intriguing. You're absolutely right. Again, it's like Indiana. It's because of who they are and who they've been in the past. It's hard to believe in them despite what my eyes have shown me this year. To me, Texas Tech has looked better than Indiana in their wins. It's just that the quality of opponent in the Big 12 is not seen as high as the quality opponent in the Big 10, and that's a shame because I think they can match up all the way up and down. I think BYU would handle pretty much anybody in the Big Ten, Michigan and some of those other schools like that for sure. Certainly your other teams, your Purdue, Michigan State, those types. I think that they would absolutely smoke them, Wisconsin. So Texas Tech is really intriguing, but and again, maybe that's just the Big 12 bias that I've seen them play so much and not be very good that I'm having a hard time believing that they are as good as what they are. Because again, I have Oregon beating them because Oregon can beat anybody when it comes to that. But I'm not going to argue with you. Texas Tech, they are just solid. They are not spectacular. They are just really, really good at what they do on both sides of the ball. And that linebacker needs to win the Heisman. Rodriguez. He scored a touchdown. They put him in an offense just because they said, well, we know quarterbacks win this Heisman, so they got him a touchdown. That's just beautiful. He's the best player out there, I think, but we all know it's an offensive award. But man, Texas Tech, they're just solid at what they do. They're not spectacular, but at the end of the day, you look up and you've lost by 4 scores.
All right, so if I have to nail you down and you're picking a final, I picked the final, Georgia Texas Tech, which is plausible since it's 2 versus 4. 4 would play 1, 2 would play 3. Who would you pick for a final?
I'm going Georgia, Oregon.
Georgia, Oregon.
I'm going Georgia, Oregon.
That'd be a good game.
That would be a terrific game. Again, I think that the top side of the bracket is a little bit less a path of less resistance than the bottom half. I think that Georgia is the better team down there. I think they're going to show that against Ohio State. As you mentioned, Ohio State shows too many cracks. Georgia is playing way too well right now. They will continue to do that. They are solid all the way through. I think Oregon gets hot and runs it out, but if it's not Oregon, it's going to be Texas Tech. I just don't see Indiana. I just don't see them being able to complete.
It's sometimes the sphincter clenches, in the tough moments, and they've been good so far. But when that game is 13-13 with 4:22 left in the final game, or in whatever game they're in, how do they respond? Are they, because all the pressure's on them? You're number one. You're Cinderella, man, and you have that target on your back. And you got, I especially think OU's playing with house money. What do they care? Just go out there, and it's like the movie Roadhouse. I came here to drink beer and kick ass, and I am all out of beer.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be terrific. I really think that the first round games will have, again, I think that Oregon JMU is not going to be all that terrific, but I think the rest of them are going to be really good. And I look forward to watching it, and hopefully our coach is watching it and figuring out how to get my team to that level.
We will talk about that in the next episode of Bedlam Buds. So for now, it is a Boomer Sooner from me, Ryan, and Jeremy.
Go Folks, baby.